The orange girl P3 ending. Other parts all down below. The tipping point was when my wife told her grandma's place was being used for her son to sleep with an involved woman. Her aunt on her dad's side and her uncle on her mom's side actually. And everyone was to keep it on the down low. How old are these people? Jesus, grow up time. All I could think about was the dozens of times in our marriage she took my boy or boys out there for the weekend. Pattern was fight Thursday, see you later Friday type of thing. It was like a light finally lit in my head. What in the world have I gotten myself into here? I wanted to explain the goings on for the last few days. My wife locked herself out of her phone trying to lock her cell phone. She had to call her cellular provider to ask them how to unlock her phone. Apparently, she wanted the SIM card, not just the phone locked. The morning before last I awoke to my wife on her phone before she even climbed out of bed. Her body language was all weird and she was strangely contorted around her phone. Not a big deal into itself, and she explained that she was checking her emails on her Hotmail account. Then she wakes up our boys and tell my youngest boy that I decided to stay up all night again after he asks if I'm going to get up with them. I do anyhow and my wife doesn't even know. That's why they are used of it. I showed my sons how to groom themselves and like doing stupid things like brushing their hair and showing them how I do my cleanup. I'm tuned right into my sons and they are on my channel too, thank God for that. Anyhow, I kind of triggered because I felt the kids don't need to hear that I made a choice not to see them off in the morning. The reality was I was working until midnight, had to stop and get groceries for the house, and commute at least an hour after that. Waking up at 7:30 is tough when my youngest gets home for lunch at 11:30 a.m. and my oldest boy arrives at 12 p.m. My sleep gets broken up and by the end of the week I can't manage. It equates to 5 hours sleep broken up, which sucks. My take on it was she should have said Dad had to work late and needs his sleep like all of us do. I guess I have unrealistic expectations. My wife's take on the matter is that should she have to check with me before she says something to our sons. It really felt like more of an attack on me at my boy's expense. I text my wife asking her to Google blame shifting and the reasons people behave in this manner. After her counselor informed my wife I was abusive, I figured we should address my counselor's thoughts. His advice was that my wife is trapping me to solicit an expected response so she can do as she pleases. All I get now is I'm not getting into this anymore and that this is my problem for not being able to let the past go and making such a big deal of nothing. It doesn't matter how small or insignificant the issue, she will go to war. Then I realized her mother raised her the same way. Do something I like and I will show you love, but do the opposite, be ready to burn. My life has become some sort of weird effort to please my wife so she will show me love. I figure love should always be there, always unconditionally, and my wife is just responding favorably to behavior she likes. This is all wrong. My wife won't even meet me for lunch because she will go on a strange tangent about how the kids are doing without. Funny thing is I can call her and she will be at the same restaurant by herself we were at and show no guilt. If I can somehow cook my boys lunch and satisfy her need for the kids to experience what we will together, it might be fine. We were walking to lunch and she told me we can't do this to our kids while we were on the skywalk. I told her the kids are at school and have a lunch, they'll be fine. We made the arrangements to meet before so I threw me off. It was totally confusing. Now I'm putting it together that she thinks my place is to take care of the kids and meet her needs but is unwilling to try and meet mine. Or at least that's how I feel, used. I made a bunch of questions for my wife to satisfy some stupid vain need for remorse that her actions are not purposeful. But they are. Now I feel numb and don't even want to ask her, even though it carries importance for me. She thinks life is going to be better without me, then so be it. I have no real interest anymore to talk it out. She is happy with everything being my fault and I could care less. I realize now that I will never be happy with a dishonest, deceitful, disrespectful liar of a wife. She is cut off from the money now and I'm getting the cold shoulder. She might be a good woman but she isn't any good for me. My life is a big carpet sweep and realized my wife has been taking off on me since we were dating and she never stopped. The only thing that did change has been my tolerance levels for dealing with crap unnecessarily. I'm realizing that my relationship with my sons is not determined by my wife and they will always love me and I will always be there for them. There is really nothing she can do to me that she hasn't done already. Kind of like the worst case has already happened, so I am ready to roll the dice now. The guys from my work are the best too. They have all been hugely supportive toward me, offering wisdom and hear me more than my wife ever has, as weird as it is to say. I have my VAR memory full of recordings that I haven't listened to yet. Not sure it matters anymore though, because she dissolved our marriage long ago by dishonoring me the way she did. As far as I'm concerned, it was a matter of choice solely on her part. I will talk with her tomorrow and tell her to leave. My understanding is she will be moving out after Christmas, so no opposition is anticipated. She's already taken the kids' birth certificates and whatever other documents to her friends. No more anger on my part. From this point forward I have to rebuild my life and just be a dad, and come up with some scratch for a lawyer. Shouldn't take more than a week to a week and a half, tops. We had a phone consultation with a marriage counselor through my work's health plan this past weekend. A counselor asked me if I had still considered that I was still committed during our periods of separations. I said yes, obviously, but then she asked my wife the same question and it caught her completely off guard. She stuttered and said everything was spinning and that all she was worried about was taking care of the kids. That and some other crap about she could never do anything or would do anything with our kids around. It was a yes or no type of question. Sunday, she asks me to pay $4,000 for a tuber reversal and declares she wants another baby. All I was thinking is NFW. Never in a million years. Oh yeah, the 17-year-old niece that lived with my wife during the last move out is now escorting with other teenage girls. Didn't see that coming. Then I am informed by my wife that my youngest son is openly lying at school and is having issues owing up to his own behavior. Choices. Talk about hit me like a ton of bricks. I took him to the local corner store to buy a slush for him and his older brother. He was walking in front of me when I saw him reach into his pocket and take out some garbage and throw it on the store floor. I asked him to pick up the garbage he just threw on the floor and he flat out tried to deny it. 3 times I gave him a chance to come clean but he wouldn't. Then he only threw one of the 3 pieces on the floor according to his account. After he picked up the garbage and put it in the trash, I explained the importance of a man telling the truth at all times and that he's better than that type of behavior. Me taking lies as truth so quickly has probably confused the boy too. All in all, my sons need to understand that they should act as they will one day want to be treated themselves. When her niece lives with her, she was just going through the motions with our boys and very involved in her life. Like sisters or something. I'm not really sure, but to me it was like 2 peas in a pod seeing them interact. I found out tonight that my soon-to-be ex has opened her maiden-name Facebook page. She posted a bunch of posters about breaking away from the one who holds you back and being judged by someone who doesn't have their own life together. Another said, lead me not to temptation. Ah, who am I kidding? Follow me, I know a shortcut. I see how she's been looking up local men too. She has the town community center as a friend. One could find anyone through the friend list. She acts like this is all me and she is some kind of victim. Unreal. Looking at my oldest boy's texts, he's enjoying the additional attention his mother is giving him. Staying home from school and buying game cards. Just like the last separations. She will compensate and buy the boys whatever they want to keep them happy while she can be away and do her thing. I spoke with my mother yesterday too and she said she will be here to watch the boys when I'm on shift work and help with the lawyer money. Her take on it is to go for custody and I agree 100%. After it is all said and done, I'm not just going to stand by and let her do what she wants. If she is awarded custody, I will want a list of anyone who my boys are going to be in contact with and if they have a history. My wife took an apartment in the city in a choice end of town for move-out separation 3. There was a small trial one before that even, but it's happening again. I got the same story as last time too, but she is getting better at it now. Now she wants me to help move her and my boys out of the house and is dangling we can be happy carrot. Something along the lines that I have to let go and just enjoy the ride. This woman, she's not my friend. Co-workers treat me better than my own wife, as screwed up as it sounds to type. While I can't stop her from leaving, I can stop her from coming back and the decision has been made. No more fixing her car. No more calls. No more accepting explanations for yes, no questions. No more putting everyone on this piece of done, besides kids, before me. No more eating cheap pizza. No more denying the people who want to be around me. No more having my actions not match my word. No more taking her back. I told her to get out last night and staying until after Christmas is not an option. I worked nights last night and came home to her and the kids gone. She took important stuff last night and came back today with a U-Haul and her mother to pick up her remaining belongings. This separation only required a 10-feet unit. The look on her face as she drove away was less than welcoming. Anyhow, she's out now and I can start getting my life back together. He said to rent a place in the city and have the kids week on week off type of deal. That way I can find a new woman and my ex can find another man. Strange to say, but he made sense. My wife thinks I will take the boys on weekends so she has weekend fun time and I work and have visitation. No time to meet a new lady friend. Things are starting to take shape now. First indications are that this process won't be that bad. I got sucked back in when my youngest boy called and asked me to sleep over at their new place. After I responded that a lot is going on and he should talk to his mother first. Then my wife calls saying she wants me there too. That it should tell me this is a good thing she wants me around her new place. That she still needs me to service her and still considers herself my wife and is not interested in other men. Yesterday I called her suggesting we go to the new Star Wars movie. Her response was confusing at best. She told me we are not going to go on dates as that would confuse what is happening. All her misery was right on the surface and I took the bait like a fool and got offended. Pull push, push pull, that is what I see. Now that I look at the situation, I'm not really that bad off having her not part of my life anymore. My lawyer told me I could petition the court to have her forced to bring the kids home. But he said that'd take the gloves off and it isn't worth it. He recommended 2 boys of that age are a lot of work, so let the ex swim in it for a while, and she'll be happy to split living arrangements. That and they'll eat her out of house and home, leading to less custody resistance. I will not sell the house until spring and are sure the kids do not want to come back. From a dad's standpoint though, my ex can be there for them more, working a day shift job and doesn't have the commute. My shift worker's schedule would mean the boys would have less care and parent exposure. The one thing I want is for them to suffer the least in this whole ordeal. Why should they get punished for something that is out of their control? Both lawyers I've dealt with cost me nothing out of pocket. The one lawyer I spoke with on the phone last July seemed to be more my fit. This last lawyer was kind of out there and didn't have any legal position on anything other than I will end up losing my shirt. Speaking with a guy from work, he said that they can't count overtime as income and my base wage would only have to be factored. I can't seem to get correct advice from anyone. I'm kind of mourning the loss right now. No excuses, just kind of numb now. It's hard to explain, but I can feel a shift from thinking about what or who she is around to more thinking about our relationship dissolving. There's no question I will be able to handle being my own captain again. My mother suggested I attend some local churches or volunteer to meet a nice woman. And no bar woman lush, obviously. This is what she texted me Monday. I am still married to you and am not going to be with other men. But for right now I want a friends with benefits kind of relationship with you. It might sound bad to you, but I just don't want to deal with a relationship and all of the expectations right now. I had a discussion with the WW yesterday about giving her junkie sister money for drugs after my boy's birthday party that I was not supposed to attend, so I took him to wrestling after. And I watched her borrow some of his gift money to give her sister to get her fix. Then another one of her nieces was staying with her. This one is from her brother and is an 18-year-old that is all strung out on meth. The gloves came off and she said that I plan on using her family as leverage to get the kids, and what kind of man does that? Then she progressed into me being grouped in the same category as her dysfunctional family. That I don't have my shit together and can't even take care of myself, let alone the boys too. In her mind I am this monster that she believes is controlling with abuse as an agenda. What I actually am is an advocate for my family, and my litmus test consists of either it is good for my us or it isn't. A revolving door of garbage that need enablers isn't going to influence our children. I can sum it up like this. My WW shows love to her family by doing everything they want and dons this armor to fix the world's problems. An outside observer could easily see they are a bunch of puppies huddled around their mom, all suckling with their eyes closed. Her mother does it to her mother too. It's a huge intergenerational pile of suckling pups all huddled together, letting life pass them by. I listened to my VAR and she had planned on leaving again before she actually did, and well before I did. She baited me and I responded like I always do, then used it as excuse to leave. An update: the mother of my children is still miserable and so am I, but can't say this is all her fault. My problem appears to be establishing healthy boundaries with the people in my life. She can't seem to break the pattern of finding ways to devalue me and my contribution to simply be here, make her life easier. Hard to explain, but it's like she just goes through the motions of life. We no longer spend time together as a family and find me not even able to have a nap or watch a favorite TV program. Instead, we watch what she wants or I sit by myself or my energy levels suck. It's a horrible place to be. Like I have to provide entertainment and take care of everyone else before considering myself. After doing some reading on the matter, my wife is full of contempt for me, and that's what I live. Instead of being a good provider, she tells me I'm married to my job and that I choose to put my work first. This is not really the case, but can't just walk off shift due to my tickets needed to keep the plant operational. It doesn't matter, it all ends in me not doing what I should be doing. Pretending I don't exist and rejecting every attempt I make on personal contact. Even to go as far as step away from me if I come near or try any physical contact. What this comes down to is I can no longer accept being devalued and need a woman that can consider my needs alongside their own. A woman that can give and receive love and enjoys being around me for who I am, not what I can do for them. Maybe she won't bombard me with constant expectations only to be met with more demands and unhappiness. She feels that she should be free to act cold. Always just she had a bad morning or the kids were stressing her out, and that obviously perfectly acceptable. When I experience stress and react in a similar fashion, she thinks I'm abusive and I get fed to the wolves. She already is playing the whole reveal game. It's her leaving me and I'm not the man I once was, and that the person I've become isn't who she married. Jesus, talk about the old reversal game. Same pattern every time. From this point, anything I bring up that I'm having issue with will be met by Me Too response, which is extremely frustrating. And sending all these emails from her work email, making me sound like she decided to call it quits based solely on my lack of character. Doesn't really matter now anyway, but she's done this same thing before. She has periods where she is loving and we can enjoy each other's company, but keeps slipping back to her man-hater mode. This is the part that confuses me so much, because it isn't a matter of capacity but more a matter of choice. Something else strange I've started to notice lately. She is forgetting things like things on the stove, where we came into a store. Recalling inconsistencies that never happened. I was the one that had some of those minor tendencies, but never with her. They seem to be happening more and more often now too, even to the point of it being mentioned by her herself. She has started asking me weird things like if I thought she was going crazy. Today she withheld personal property, threatening to sell it unless I make the loan payment. How it can be so easy to take money from someone who she has such little respect for must tear her apart inside. The reason I must have stopped going to IC probably because he was telling me what I didn't want to hear, just like all of the people have been advising me all along. And the only reason I keep myself in these unfavorable situations is because I think I deserve it. Somewhere along the way I picked up shame, and not just minor shame either. My department head told me I'm way too hard on myself when I asked about my work performance. He said beating yourself up can be as bad as not caring at all, and somewhere in the middle would serve me better. No complaints other than that. Looks like this will be my starting point. Spoke to her about divorce and she verbally told me I can keep the house as long as I don't try and take the boys from her. My take on this is the courts should be the ones to decide based on the best fit for the kids, where they live. Anyhow, I made an appointment with a lawyer in my IC. Just because we divorced doesn't mean everything is over, but I have a sneaking suspicion that once I rattle the cage her true colors will come out. She thinks that I will just sit on my hands, but I want everything separated and close that chapter of my life. Hopefully you all can help me through this next part. I made an intake appointment with my work benefit plan to have my boys see their own counselor. Their mother is going to have to sign consent forms first though. I tried this route before and she told me she thought I was going to use it against her and refused. How can she enroll them in schools and have counselors speak to them and doesn't need my signature? Anyhow, the counselor is a completely different person from who I see and isn't even located in the same end of town. My concern is that my sons have someone they can talk to in an unbiased environment so they can communicate some of what they are experiencing. Got a list for when I get home from work. 1. Request attendance records from both schools and ask if any counseling resources are available to them in-house. 2. Make the school aware we share joint custody, and that I'd like to be informed when anything involves my children. 3. Contact school they attended last summer and get a copy of those attendance records. 4. Find which agency investigated my wife for doing meds and other crap. 5. Start looking for employment that doesn't involve shift work. 6. Find a copy of The Shame That Binds You. 7. Update my address for the DNA kit I ordered last December and submit samples to cover my back. The last one is shallow, but when all this is said and done, I want to be 11% sure before I pound the sand. It's been 3 days and I've had NC with her in any regard. I see what she is doing now. What in the hell is the matter with me? Here I'm sitting expecting my wife to be something she clearly is not. Nothing I can do will change this, unfortunately. Yet I keep at it expecting from my wife what she was never capable of. Then to top it off, I expect her to have the same remorse as I would if I was put in her situation. The character just isn't there, truth be told. After that I thought about what a hard upbringing she went through. Not once was that dynamic ever explored. Instead, she ended up transposing the wrongdoing onto me, and that seemed to allow her to move past her youth. She had a dirty past with at least 2 of her older brothers and has a huge amount of respect for them still. She brags how all the girls want them and how well they dance. No shame at all for incest has me baffled actually. What I know now is that now I'm no longer with her, she will have to face reality. Maybe she can just pretend for the rest of her life. Who gives a crap? No quality man is going to be waiting for her in a bar at 2 a.m. and she will be chin deep in stupidity at that point. I doubt she will have any difficulty having men lay on top of her, but she's going to be downgrading and finding a new partner, especially when he meets her family, starting to see the light, and she is cut off now cash-wise. No way am I going to pay my wife to leave and take our kids away from me. She was trying to stop me from challenging her on fighting for custody of the kids. The 50-50 custody thing will be taken off the table too, I'm sure, once the lawyers get involved. Not one red cent from this point forward. No answering call or texts either. In all of this I know she will come apart at the seams eventually, and she'll have to pick up her own pieces because I won't be there. Hard to explain, but when I see her, no, it's not even the same person I once loved. It's like she changed over the years, and either I choose to ignore it or was blind to the fact as long as we were together. But her eyes are different, as is the way she carries herself. An update: spoke with another lawyer and was advised to sit down with the wife and do some grade 4 math to figure out debts and assets and split it right down the middle. Said we could even just point form the terms to get the process started. Once we get that done, we bring the agreement in for independent legal review and sign off on it. I thought that would be less trauma for the kids and both her and I for that matter. The lawyer explained her consumer debt has to be settled out and is subtracted from her share of the assets. Now she sent me a text saying this: as for the house crap and debt, we could just postpone filing for divorce and stay civil and sell it first. Unless it's too late and you went and made a big mess of everything. Which I'm kind of assuming you did. What I read in this is give me a $30,000 check so I can drop you like a hot potato. Then when we legally settle this, you can pay off my debt with your remaining equity. My lawyer said that selling now is not in my best interest. No kidding. Any assets we have will not be made liquid until an agreement is in place. She cannot allow others to see who she really is, and that mantra comes at all costs. Then there's me looking for acknowledgement of the open wrongdoings. It's a recipe for a misery cake. She is not even willing to have a sit down, and that I am intimidating. I find this humorous because she is saying she wants the equity. Indirectly, of course. But doesn't want to deal with the other side of that sword. Anything outside of this arena is intimidation. Now she said what debt she is willing to repay. The previous legal advice I got was she could simply not sign the separation agreement and $1,000 would go out the window. Now she says she will draw up the agreement with her lawyer and send it to me. My thinking is good. We will have something to work with since I have no idea what her actual intentions are. She keeps saying she will not fight and will let me take what I want. Last text from her. I don't want to see you. You're just too intimidating to be around. I'm not going to fight you on anything either. Like I said before, I don't care about any of that stuff. I will talk to my lawyer about the debt. Once I talk to her, I will email you my initial agreement and you can decide from there. Interesting development. The STBX texts me today wanting to do stuff as friends. Says she misses me and wants to be able to spend some time together and not ex each other. I asked her if she is contacting me out of guilt and she said there is no guilt. Yes, it makes sense. She wants a softer target for the separation process. What do you think is going on here? She hates my guts and I'm the source of all misery in her universe, but now let's hang out sometimes. She says she's happy, broke and ringing up debt as usual, but happy. Her fantasy may just involve the freedom fantasy where she can make mistakes and never have any consequences. I can't sleep. This is bothering me so much, but I can still see the angle she is working. How can we just go to being friends from a married? Seriously? Then asking me if I already planned on taking somebody else to an upcoming concert and that she'd like to go with me if I didn't mind. After she blew it all off, said she should have never contacted me. Update, my wife sicker me back in again. Then out of the blue she tells me she is sick of the way I'm acting. I tried not to engage her, but she will not relent. Anyhow, she told me she needed space again and her Facebook went back up and went out to the bar one day after I was gone. I had to go pick up my youngest because he was burning up and his mother wouldn't answer his calls. It was 1:45 a.m. when he called me, so I went into town to get him and bring him home. How could she just ignore her own child for the bar or God knows what else? Now yesterday she tells me she has had guy friends but could never tell me because of my reaction and controlling nature. Could this be that she is blaming me for her loose morals and betrayal? She said that she needs to be with someone who will not judge her and accept her past as an intricate part of who she is. I can't believe that she is tickle-truthing me. What a lying price of cap. She canceled her Facebook but always had her friends list private too. I couldn't see. Either could my boys for that matter. Then told me Facebook wasn't good for a relationship, so she deactivated her account. I thought to myself why she would do that other than trying to keep her friend list private from me. Well, I called her on it when she got home one day last week and explained that I was open with my friends list and that she should do the same, so I stood beside her and asked her to reactivate her account so I could have our look. Well, she went raving mad telling me this is the reason why she can't be with me. Then she took her phone and went outside for about 15 minutes by herself, of course. Then after making a huge scene called me into the bedroom with a sweet voice saying I could come have a look. She must have thought I was stupid, but I knew at that point she was hiding aspects of her life from me and using manipulation to continue to do so. Now she has had guy friends for quite some time, which was kept secret from me all along. Again, she blamed me for not being able to be honest. Interesting note, when she called my son at 2:40 a.m. she was telling him that he knew that she was going to go out and she wouldn't answer her phone because he'd want her to come home. I was stunned. She does the same thing to me but ended up making my boy feel ashamed for making her come home. What a piece of crap in the spouse and parent arena. Then she calls me at 6 a.m. making fun of me for picking up my youngest boy and only being interested in if I was drunk too. I didn't have a stitch and she lost interest once she found up I was sober. Hung up on me actually. Maybe a woman's perspective would help me here, but I asked. I see. She got something from talking to these guys that I didn't give her. She explained that they wouldn't judge her and she could be open with them. How can she be open to almost strangers but treat her husband with such contempt? Was I supposed to support her bonding with other men in her life that I knew nothing about? What a kick in the nuts. I'm almost 100% sure she is BPD now and know for sure that I am codependent. I wanted to apologize to everyone who took the time to post advice already knowing what was going on and my complete failure to listen. I had this hope that my wife was different from all of the others and in my ignorance have delayed me finding a woman that is just waiting to enjoy my life with me. 3 months later, yesterday I reached my breaking point and told her that she doesn't value anything I care or hold an opinion about. Her response was pretty much, so what, who gives a cap? It isn't changing. I guess the part that got me confused was why someone would want to be with someone that they don't really care about their feelings. Like if it were a friendship it wouldn't be much of one. She tried talking as I was getting out what I had to say and I told her before she even said a word not to say me too. I feel the same way, as it is incredibly demeaning and does it every time. I finally see my doctor about depression and have begun taking a prescribed medication. My appointment with my IC is for October 8th, and I'm going to start getting my life back together. A few weeks ago, I hit a rough patch, and even after me taking steps to get my head straight, she still enjoyed making a cheap shot comment about it and never apologizing. One morning after I got home from the night shift and was driving home all happy to see her, once she woke up, she was cold and mean, so I went into the living room to watch TV and remove myself. She felt bad, so she asked me to come back into the kitchen where she was doing her makeup. As soon as I sat down, it started up again and got mad when I tried to kiss her goodbye on the lips. What I got was an eye-rolling kiss on the forehead like a strange elderly man would get from a stranger. 2 minutes later, she's sending me hearts kiss faces via text. Tried to nail that one down too, but she just chalked it up to being in a rush and not being a morning person. It's my being sensitive always, not her actions. Something else she said, that people who love each other survive even affairs, and the fact there has been no affairs in our relationship and we are still having problems means we must not be meant to be together. Nice logic if you were raised on Skid Row. The way things are now, the boys are back in school on town, so I'm in a better position to keep them here. The wench knows she's just doing things to irritate me and won't ever change. A spouse that holds nothing but contempt to their partner is useless as far as I'm concerned. Tits on a bore. Plan is to see my lawyer SAP so she can't take the kids to the city again and play it cool and indifferent. Now that I think about it, I was the one who initiated any intimacy in the 19 years together. Her method was to put on a fancy pair of underwear or take a shower before bed, like a signal that she wanted me to service her. It made bonding boring for me for years. The reason for my update, because she was just doing things to get under my skin and finally saw what she was doing, sucking me into a response that allows her to do what she wants guilt-free. So, I finally get it that she is not going to magically see the light. Just had a phone consult with a lawyer, and apparently, I can't stop her from unregistering the boys from their school, but I can notify the school divisions in the city that I share custody rights and not allow her to register them without my permission. Then she can only re-register them in our town school until an agreement is finalized. My approach on is going to petition the divorce after we hash out an agreement to save the step of doing the divorce after. I get more free advice before the referral, and it is coming on my dime, so I plan on sitting down with her and hammering something out. Right now, I'm sure there are a bunch of questions I'll have once we start the T-balance for each of us. Just spent the morning getting passed around the boys' old schools and districts trying to invoke my parental custody rights. All I can say is wow, it is really troublesome. Update: she has gone completely again and brings home supper for everyone in the house but me. I guess it's her way of saying I don't deserve to be treated like a member of the family. Her plans for the long weekend do not involve me, thank goodness, so I can have some much-needed time to myself. I've been on my medication for a week now and can feel changes are starting to happen. No more dry mouth and just have a little insomnia, so the side effects are negligible now. Her fake laughing with the kids and her games to just irritate me are not getting under my skin now. Now I feel myself getting her out of my head. How much is that worth? My bulldog puppy is helping quite a bit, as he seems to like me all the time and doesn't have any expectation of me other than bring his friend. It's a great deal for both of us, actually. My chest is starting to stick out a little more every day and was getting followed by women around the grocery store with my cart full of organic vegetable and a big bag of puppy chow. Tonight, I went into our room to see if my STBX was willing to talk about the separation. I had a chance to review our financials without knowing the true amount of her consumer debt. And it didn't go very well. Her take on it is we can sell the house and just walk type of thing. My lawyer explained selling the house without an agreement was a bad idea. All this debt has to be cleared up and legally released, but she didn't like that at all and snapped. Told me that's why she can't be with me. I explained that lawyer involved, ensure this will go fairly. The look in her eye was pure hate, and don't really know what I did to make her feel this way toward me. Last week she loved me to no end, this week I'm the devil. Anyhow, she's been texting on her phone all night, so I think I know what's going on. Either someone's coaching her or there's a dude in her life. Just texted her that I will be the bigger man and just sell the house like she wants, and that I don't want her to be mad at me. From here on, I'm going to do a last phone consult tomorrow and retain a lawyer on Tuesday to stop her from taking my kids again. Actual text: listen, I don't want to fight. We can sell the house and you can take your half. I don't care anymore. Just stop hating me, please. Get an appraisal this week and we can put it on the market right away. I am livid she thinks I'm that stupid. I'm a good husband, dad when I do what she wants, and worthless otherwise. Going to apply this energy to the road that lay ahead. Looking back, I can see that it was do this for me and I'll treat you fondly type of deal. Now she's telling me I don't even like being around my children while they are in earshot. Had to explain to them this isn't true. Text about the sale of house has been deleted now too. I was feeling good up until yesterday, but I'm finding it difficult to not feel like crap while she packs. She reopened her Facebook and had her friend list blocked even from our kids. I looked up the guy she was talking to that she dated when she was 16, and wow. He's got images up getting drunk with his grandma with the caption "Let the fun begin," and another of a big bottle of whiskey on a table. He is about 7 years younger but looks like he was dragged behind a truck for his adult life. After looking at his profile, I feel kind of sorry for my kid's mother. In my mind, I keep thinking she's going to find everything in a guy I couldn't be for her, but the reality is she's not going to be in that good of a position moving on. I'm actually thinking it will be nice to be around someone who likes me and who doesn't smoke. DNA test came back tonight positive, conclusive for paternity on both samples. They are my boys. The ex sent me a text saying she has all her stuff and has moved out now. Sounds like something I can use down the road, so I took a screenshot and emailed it to myself. Locks are now changed and blocked her number. What sucks about this whole ordeal is how my boys stop contacting me every time this has happened. I don't blame them for any of it, but the pain I feel doesn't seem to care. 3 years later, I'm waiting for a settlement to come through to file for divorce. It's strange, but I ended up doing well in the rural community where we purchased our house and now have decent paying local work. 2-minute commute actually. Strange part is I wanted to stay in the city and the ex was the primary motivation for moving out here. What it does provide is about 100 km of X buffer zone and a better quality of life for me. She was motioning to want to work on our relationship to move back. The problem is it would be great to have the boys home, but I would not be able to live myself as a man. Interesting, she's a financial wreck now and a runaway train of a mess. Actually, I feel bad for the man she makes her next victim, but that's no longer my problem. Living the rest of my life in a lie doesn't sound very appealing. My oldest son will be 18 this September and younger boy is 15, and all I can do is be there for them when they need me. The road ahead is unknown, but I will have to put one foot in front of the other until I get healthy and happy. This whole situation had enabled me to have some serious self-reflection, and I'm 100% motivated to get where I want to be. Happiness, here I come. It is now time for me to move on with my life, and I hope being 44 isn't too late. My comment, finally OP escapes this madness. But however, it took a few months of BS. Nonetheless, he is done with her after all of this, and things can get better from now on.